What are the three things you have to keep in mind at your immigration interview? Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States at our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. There is a certain mindset of winners at USCIS, and I want to impose that knowledge that I've seen in hundreds and hundreds of immigration interviews, green card interviews, citizenship interviews. This is what I've distilled it all down to. If you are getting ready to answer some questions at USCIS, these are the three things that you must keep in mind when going through that process, when getting ready to answer and when actually answering the immigration officer's questions. Number one, listen to the question. Number two, short answer. Number three, always tell the truth. Let's do that again. Number one, listen to the question. Number two, short answer. Number three, tell the truth. All right, so number one, listen to the question. Too many people go to immigration with an agenda or with nervousness or with both. And they're going into the interview and their heart rate goes faster, their mind starts spinning, they get really nervous, they want to talk. They're not listening to the question. So the officer has done this many times before, certainly many more times than you have. And they've been in interviews all day long, every day. That's what they do. And so they know what questions are important. They know what they want to ask you. They know where they are headed. You don't have to worry about any of those things. You just have to worry about listening to the question. So the second rule at immigration is to make sure that you always make a short answer. Do not give long answers. Make sure that your answer is short. If you can answer with a yes or a no or even an I don't know, that's okay, because you're going to be ready and listening to the next question. So when the officer asks you a question, you listen to that question, as I mentioned, and then you give a short answer. You don't tell your life story. You don't bring up other things that aren't related. You don't do anything other than answer the question that's asked. And like I said, you want to do it in as few words as possible. You don't want to give a big speech. I was preparing a client for his green card interview yesterday, and I asked him, where were you born? And he ended up telling me about a 2-minute story about where he was born back in his home country. And I said to him, you only needed to give me a one-word answer. Why did you talk for 2 minutes when all that I asked you was, where were you born? These are the kinds of things that drive officers crazy. These are the kind of things that get immigrants in trouble at immigration, because we think that if we explain a lot of things to the officer, then that'll mean less questions. But actually what lots of questions and answers arise is when you've given really long answers. You force the officer to ask more questions because you've given them all this detail about things that aren't even important or that they might not have even ever asked about. And people all the time talk their way into bigger problems by bringing up things that nobody asked about. So listen to the question. If I ask you, do you have a watch? The answer is yes or no. It's not, I have this really nice Apple Watch, or I have this nice watch that my father gave me, or even that it's 3:00 in the afternoon. That might be the next question. But this question was, do you have a watch? The answer, yes or no. That's it. So don't feel like you have to give long answers. So we've talked about listening to the question. We've talked about giving a short answer. Let's talk about the third rule. The third rule is always tell the truth. Now, this might surprise you. I think a lot of people think that working with an immigration lawyer, that they teach you how to bend the truth. They teach you how to not tell the truth. I want you to tell the truth. And if it's something that you think might be exposing you to criminal liability, then you probably need to stop the interview and ask to leave the interview, because I want you to tell the truth no matter what. And if it's going to put you in criminal trouble, then you need to be smart enough to tell the officer that you need to stop the interview, or you need to talk to an attorney before your interview, or even better, bring an attorney with you to your interview. So you should be able to go into that interview feeling completely confident that you're going to tell the truth. If there are things about the truth that worry you, then you talk to a lawyer beforehand and you figure out whether it makes sense to even proceed with the interview, to proceed with the case, or whether it should be withdrawn. But I've seen people time and time again get asked a question and this pause sort of happens in the room and everybody's sitting there wondering, is she going to tell the truth? Is he going to lie? Is he going to tell the truth, or is he going to lie? And that is a real important moment, because if you tell the truth, sometimes you can get forgiven for things that you've done that if you lied about it, you get more in trouble for the lying than what you did. So it is a scary thing. I understand. but you're going to get yourself in much more trouble by perjuring yourself, by lying to a federal government official. That is actually a federal crime than whatever it is that you're going to tell them. Of course, if you're doing something really criminal, again, talk to a lawyer, maybe withdraw the case. These are the kinds of things. But for most people, when it comes up with, were you working without permission, or did you overstay your visa? People want to lie about that. They don't want to admit it. But the officer most likely has the information right there, and they're just waiting for you to lie. Officers like to let you lie. So don't fall into that trap. So you need to keep these three things in mind. And when you're driving down to USCIS on the day of your interview, you should be thinking about these three rules. When you're walking into the building, think about these rules. When you are waiting in the waiting room after you've checked in, think about these three rules. Listen to the question, short answer, always tell the truth. Those are the three most important things. If you remember those rules, everything else will work itself out. So keep that in mind. You can't keep too many things in your mind. You can't cram in every apartment address you've ever had. You can't be thinking about any of that stuff. You want to really clear your mind in the morning before you go, maybe meditate for 5 minutes, and then start thinking about those three things. Listen to the question, short answer, tell the truth. If you do those three things, you're going to put yourself in a greater chance of success and hopefully get the immigration benefit that you're after. I hope you found this helpful. If you're thinking about hiring our law firm to help you through this process, or if there's things about your interview that make you nervous, feel free to give us a call, 314-961-8200. Email us at info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. We also have our free Facebook group with thousands of members. We'd love to have you join us in there. And it's called Immigrant Home. We also have our YouTube channel that you should subscribe to. That way you get updates whenever we make new videos like this one. And you'll be the first one to know when we go live, which we do 3 or 4 times a week for about an hour. And I answer people's immigration-related questions for that full hour. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.